Hello, and welcome to Let's Play Dungeonmans. My name is Marlo, and I've had kind of a break from recording videos for my channel for a while. Had the holidays, been very busy at work. This is kind of my busiest time of year. But hopefully we're gonna kind of get back on board, and I got this game for Christmas from a subscriber of mine who is also my best friend in real life. And so I thought I would do a series on it. Now, I don't know how long the series is going to be, because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to beat this game. For those who don't know, Dungeonmans is a roguelike that has some aspects that you can carry over from one character to the next, because like most roguelikes, this game does feature perma-death. So when a character dies, they're dead. And but there are things that we can do to make life easier for the next character. So we're going to see what we can do when it comes to that. See how far we can get. The game is it's got a sense of humor. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's pretty hard. And we're gonna have to play pretty conservatively if we're gonna make it. Here's a test game I've been. A test game I was recording to get the volume levels right, things like that. So we're going to delete that, and we're going to found a new dungeon academy. Alright, our story begins in a forgotten age, a legend lost in histories that were buried in old myth. On the unfamiliar shores of an untamed land, a hero strode forth to... No, don't be silly. That hero is not you. Strode forth to bring the light of knowledge and civilization to a wild continent known only as... Utubia. Continent of Utubia. Alright. So, I'm not going to read this entire wall of text, but basically we founded a Dungeonmans Academy, and this academy we can upgrade through items that we find and things that we do with each character, and then when that character dies and we have to start another character, the second character will benefit from the efforts of the first, and so on and so forth. The idea being that things get a little easier for your characters as you go. So for this first character, we're starting literally from zero. Alright, what I thought I was going to do was use the names of subscribers or commenters as the candidates' names, as the characters' names, but honestly, I think I'm going to be dying so much that wouldn't be that much fun. So I'm just going to use ordinary everyday names. The first name is going to be Bob, and you know, you'll see Bob probably won't last that long. Okay, now we have to associate Bob with some statistics, and what we get is we get 5 rolls essentially of statistics to choose from. We have strength, which is strength. We have skills, think dex from an ordinary RPG. Science, which is an interesting one. It reduces magic damage taken. It increases the effectiveness and duration of potions and status effects. It softens the blow of enemy status effects on us, and it increases detection chance. Science is a measure of your wisdom and knowledge of how things work. And then Foom, which is like magic. So magic, is Foom. So we have 4 stats, and each of these 5 sets of stats represents some numbers. Now, they don't start off very good, and these are kind of random. This one, and there are different character classes, which we'll go through in a minute, but I like to kind of choose the character class based on the stats that I pick. And in this one, I think we might go for a physical damage character. In this for the first one, just because there's some decent stats for that. We're going to choose this stat block. Now, there's fighter, archer, rangermans, wizardmans is exactly what it sounds like. It's a wizard. Got a necromancer, a dungeonmans, which is like a custom class, which we might do later once we see a little bit more about the game. A Bannermans, which is reminds me a little bit of the Captain class from Lord of the Rings Online, if you've ever played that game. it's kind of interesting. And then Southern Gentlemans, which I think is an interesting class. It has kind of a rage mechanic where you build it up by taking damage or dealing damage, and then you can use the rage that you've built up. They call it ire, but you can use the rage you've built up on skills to kick major butt. I don't know if my accent comes through, but I am a lifelong Southerner, so I find this class to be particularly amusing. At any rate, I think... I don't know. I think we'll start with the Fighter-mans. It's pretty basic and easy to understand. Alright, we get to choose 2 perks. These do different things. This one gives us a bonus to maximum health. We can find books in the world that do different things for us. This will allow us to eat the books to gain health and XP boost. I don't really like that one. You can find more coin and loot and breakable world items. I think this is a great one, especially for your early characters where you're starting from nothing. So we're going to take this one. Defiant, we can deal more damage when you're gravely injured. Plus 20 AP gain. That's an action point. Essentially allowing you from time to time to do more than one action in a turn. This is a turn-based game. Electrolyzed, faster, more potent mana and stamina recovery. That can be helpful. We can take 10 less fire and ice damage and deal 10 more percent fire and ice damage. That's not a bad thing. More champion monsters will spawn in the world. I don't like this one, especially for earlier characters, because a lot of the time, when you die early on, it's going to be because of these champion monsters. They're kind of the boss monsters. So, you know, maybe later in the game we'll pick that. Once we've kind of got ourselves more established. Mad Thirsty, first potion you drink in a round does not cost you an action. That's a pretty good one, actually. Powers that use stamina have increased costs on use for 2 rounds instead of 5. Yeah, so some of your power, if you don't have a mana bar, you have a stamina bar. Well, actually, you can have both. But like this character that we're making right now won't have a mana bar. He doesn't use any magic to start with, although we can multi-class him in a sense and get him to use magic. But we do have a stamina bar, and our different abilities will cost us stamina, and if you try to use them multiple times in a row, it costs more stamina every time. Well, this ability kind of reduces the effect of that mechanic. So that's not a bad thing. Let's see. Gosh, it's hard to pick. I'm going to go with Tireless. Alright, now we can pick our avatar. There's not that many choices, but you know, it's decent. For Bob, I'm gonna go with this one. And let's go to the adventure. You can control the game completely with the mouse if you want. You can control the game completely with the keyboard if you want. I tend to use the keyboard. So I'll try to explain what's going on when I'm not using the mouse. Alright, congratulations, Bob. As the first graduate of the Dungeonmans Academy, there is much that rests on your shoulders. This wild, untamed world is yours to explore, wander, and protect. Before you go, I can offer some exceedingly brief words of advice to nudge you in the right direction. Do you care to hear them? Let's hear them. Bob, know these things well. First, danger lies to the east and south. The farther you go, the darker and more cunning your foes become. As you venture far from civilization, know also that the danger will increase. If you grow too bold and are surrounded by foes you are not equal to, none can save you but yourself. In the farthest corner of the land lives the dread Perpolonians, a vile race that is the enemy of all good men. What twisted master they serve is unknown to us, but there is no doubt that the dread Perpolonians are the greatest known threat, and should be crushed once and for all. Should you keep your wits and fortune smile, perhaps the crusher shall be you. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. This academy is your home, and you're always welcome here. Should you find any academy artifacts, bring them back here post-haste. They will provide benefit not only for yourself, but for other students who graduate here should you fall. Our academy grows through your efforts alone. As it so happens, there's an Academy artifact just outside our walls. A stinking flock of scrobolds invaded our halls in the dead of night and made off with our only triple-coiled decalcinator, the heart of our alchemy lab. If you happen to stumble across it in your travels, return it to me. A quest! I love quests. No, dear Bob, there are no great quests set before you. Your path is your own, and where it takes you none can say. Seek not guidance from humble townsfolk or snooty lords. A Dungeonmans builds legends alone. Alright, there's a wall of text above, which is actually literally... Yeah, there's an orb. I have no idea what that's for. I haven't got that far in the game. This is literally a wall of text. If you run into it, it just gives you tips about... you know, about the game. So, that's cool. Also, if you walk behind, you will find an item. It's there every time for every character. And it's a ring that gives you some bonuses. So, why not do that? It's free. So let's alright, she can't do any potions because she doesn't have stuff. This is the Academy. We can upgrade it as we go. This is the blacksmith. We can dump excess gear on him, and we can use the materials that he creates from deconstructing it to upgrade our starting equipment for our next characters. This is the library. There's no books because we haven't found any yet. Very sad. This is the training instructor, who you can use to upgrade your stats when you have found appropriate items, which we don't have. So let's go see what we can find. We'll go to the overworld. This is the overworld map. You always start out. It's random, and it can be reset. For example, let's go back to the Academy. I think we can do it now. May have to have gone into a dungeon to do this. I'm not sure. We'll find out. Oh yeah, we'd like to create an entirely new overworld while keeping the Academy data safe. Let's do it. An entirely new overworld will be generated in all lands undiscovered. Fallen Dungeonmans you have not recovered will be forever lost. All locations and any progress therein will be forever lost. Yeah. So, well, we don't have to do it because we haven't discovered anything yet. But yeah, if you die, when you die, I should say, the next character can find the body of the previous character and recover items that character was carrying. So that's pretty cool. Now you always start in the northwest corner of the land, and you can get into random battles like this one. We're going to go ahead and go into the random battle. In this area it should be fairly simple. This is us right here. Now of course everything's turn-based, and combat, like a lot of roguelikes, is simply bumping into the enemies, and that's our abilities, but we'll worry about that in a little bit. So as you can see, we can do damage to them, they can do damage to us. Those guys are no fun. Alright, it is turn-based combat, so oops, wrong one. So you can pause at any time. We're going to equip these boots. Oh, that is a two-handed weapon that we could use. We'll not worry about that just at the moment. Ooh, and a bow. And it's magic. As you can see down here, it has a blue name. That means it's magic. Now, we don't know what it is. We can't identify it. We also can't use it yet. But once we level up, we're probably going to give ourselves the ability to use a bow. It's important in this game to have some ranged ability, even if you're not really a ranged class. To have something. And then, okay, we just picked up a scroll. The name of the scroll is gibberish because we have no idea what it does. We've never seen this scroll before. Let's see if there's any more enemies here. Another bow. Another scroll that we don't know what it does. And so this battlefield isn't very big. But actually, if we keep wandering around it, and I think we've probably killed all the initial enemies, but if we keep wandering around it, the game will usually generate some more. You can, in theory, grind levels this way, although I think it would be a giant pain in the butt to do it. One thing you can do, if you have a number pad, I like to move around using the number pad because you can move diagonally in this game. But if you hold down the 5 key, which is right in the center of the number pad, you can just let turns pass. If you don't have a number pad because you're on a laptop or something like that, and this game does run well on a laptop, you can use the period key, at least on an American layout keyboard, which is obviously what I'm using. But we'll leave here and we'll go back to the overworld. So we got some loot, which is good. I like to explore a little bit of the map, and see if some random battles will pop up before we go to the first dungeon. First dungeon can actually be somewhat difficult in a way. So, alright, now we're going to use one of our abilities, not because we really need to, but just because. So, we have, because we're using a sword and shield right now, we can use this shield rush ability, which is like a charge, and it makes them use their lose their next action. Oh, we're not close enough. Okay. Well, we won't do that. Now we'll do it. Oops, wrong button. And so we'll highlight the enemy that we want to charge, and you can move it around with the arrow keys if you want to, or the number pad, or you can use the mouse, and then you just hit the button again. Oh, and your skills over here, let me just say a word about that. So we have various skill trees here, and they're dependent on which class you are. The red, blue, green, so on and so forth. Those are all the classes. Then you have these two like general skill tabs. Here's weapon usage, by and large. We don't have basic archery, but I want it. And then here's Fightermans. This is our class. This is an ability that we have because we're a Fightermans, where we can rush. We can do a charge. Then we have these other abilities here, and you can assign them to these keys. This is 1 through 9, and then 0, of course, the number keys in the top row of your keyboard. Some of them, like this one's grayed out because we're not holding a two-handed weapon, but we're holding a one-handed weapon and a shield, so we can do a couple of these other things. This one I think you get just for choosing Fightermans. It's not one that you actually pick on your skill trees here, so you know. Okay, so back to the battle. Let's charge him. So still turn-based. The skill usage is still turn-based. And you'll notice the yellow bar down here. Every time I use a skill, it uses stamina. And so I can't do that indefinitely. Oh, hey, we've leveled up. Well, that's great. Yeah, it uses stamina. As time passes, stamina will regenerate, as you will notice. When we walk around the map, and that happens in the overworld too. Okay, we've leveled up, and we can choose an ability. Gosh, basic archery is probably the way to go. Yeah, probably the way to go. Wizardry is always tempting as well. Yeah, you can kind of cross-class into all of this to some degree. There's some things I think that it doesn't look like you can actually do, but you know. Alright, we're going to... Alright, here's my dilemma. I can pick archery right now, and that's good, but if I do that, I can't use a shield. And right now, the best weapons I have... I don't know. That's medium armor, which we can't use. We use heavy armor. Alright, I think that we'll... Alright. I'm going to go with archery for right now. And I'm going to equip this short bow, and I'm going to equip this thick plank with a bent nail, which is our starting two-handed weapon. And now we can use our bow. There is no ammunition in this game. You don't have to worry about that. To use a ranged attack, you press the F key. F as in fire. You highlight the enemy that you want to attack, and then you press fire again to actually attack. And we're just going to have a little ranged duel with this guy, and we're going to win. Ranged abilities are great. There is a class, of course, entirely based on that. And, you know, I'm sure we'll see that later. Okay, let's go to this town really quickly. And the main reason that we're going to come here is that I want to talk to the mayor about prosperity. Right now, our prosperity of the town is 0 out of a maximum of 1. Seeing as we're pretty far from danger here, we don't have the most exciting merchandise. Further out in the wild, you'll find more towns with more potential. There's room for growth, of course, and if you find any purloined inventory, that's an item that we can find in dungeons, be sure to bring it by and help us grow. I should mention, unpleasant as it is, that the unfortunate passing of the Dungeonmans will result in all towns' prosperity being lowered by 1. Without a champion like yourself, people get skittish. It's bad for the economy. What are the effects of high prosperity? Prosperity is a measure of how well our shops are doing. Higher prosperity means merchants have more and better items to sell, with an increased chance to see magical items. Also of note is that high prosperity means lower prices for you, the customer. To increase a town's prosperity, bring any purloined inventory you find during travels, so on and so forth. Okay, so, alright, but let's visit this weapon shop, and let's see what he has for sale. Oh, that bow's pretty nice, but we're poor. We can't wear leather armor. We could get ourselves to wear leather armor, but I don't know that there would be any point in that, particularly. Although it would give us more dodge, I think. Let's see if this guy has anything. One-handed sword, one-handed sword. Really, we're kind of looking for a two-handed weapon, so that's okay. We'll check back another time. There is an inn, and you can buy consumables there and things like that. Alright, let's go back to the academy. And we're going to get our loot identified for free by the headmaster. So, now, if we go back here, we see that we have a pretty good bow, and it does some fire damage as well. So we're going to equip that one. And I'm going to lock... No, I'm not. You can lock items in your inventory if you want to. You're in the way. You're still in the way. You can lock items in your inventory if you want to keep them away from the blacksmith here. We're going to melt down all of the gear that we're not using. And we're going to get 4 units of 10 steel. Why do we need 10 steel? Because we can upgrade our starting weapons and armor if we spend 110 steel on the upgrade. What that means is that not the armor that Bob is using, but the armor that Bob's successors and weapons that Bob's successors will use when they are when they have their turn. All right, so this is the first dungeon for every character, basically. You're gonna see this first dungeon a lot. It is a convenient Scrobold Warren. So, yeah, you can run into these pots and crack them open. And yes, I do see that guy coming for us. We're gonna shoot him. We'll attack. And like I say, we're gonna play fairly cautiously here, because no matter what I do, I'm gonna die a lot, and I don't want to try your patience as a viewer. I like this game a lot, but man, is it hard. Roguelikes, you know, that's what they do. You know, are the super hardcore roguelike players gonna like this game? I don't know. Probably, there are probably things about it they're not gonna like, but you know, I'm not one of those people. So I do like roguelikes, but I wouldn't call myself a die-hard fan of them. So, you know, as you can see, there are stairways down. There are 3 floors in this dungeon. We will get there eventually. Right, I want to clear this floor out first if I can. Actually, I don't expect that we'll have any great difficulty on this floor. Yeah, the enemies on this floor, since we're already level 2 from our explorations of the overworld, the enemies on this floor should be relatively easy to handle. They won't come out in groups by and large. On the first floor. The second floor will be attacked by more enemies more frequently, and the third floor even more, and some harder enemies as well. Not just more and faster, but actually more difficult. So we're getting a lot of potions. We don't know what most of them do. Just like the scrolls, we have to have them identified, but we can do that when we go back out, which we probably will in the near future. Bees, please. That's a good scroll. It's an area of effect attack. Any character can use a scroll. It's not like D&D where you have to have a certain skill, you know, to use a magical device. Anybody can do it. Okay, so this floor is pretty well clear. We're gonna go on down to the second floor. And as you can see, there's already 3 enemies on the screen, 4 enemies on the screen. There's one here, 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 and here. And we just came down the stairs. Isn't that happy? Oh gosh, there's more. I don't imagine us staying down here terribly long. Well, we're doing better than I thought we would. Okay. And let me show you why you want, why you really want a ranged weapon. So, this enemy right here is kind of a magic user. And so, if we try to go after him, he can run away from us. And it's very hard to catch him. He could do a lot of damage to us, and if there's 2 or 3 ranged enemies at the same time, we can be killed fairly quickly that way. So, a ranged weapon is extremely helpful. You don't have to have a bow necessarily. You could do it with spells, I think. But, yeah, you could do it with spells, and we may do some of that later to kind of enable us to go back to sword and board for the additional defenses. And honestly, oh, we're poisoned for 7 turns. I don't see one that I instantly recognize as being a being an antidote potion, but that's okay. We've leveled up, so we'll let the poison pass. Okay, let's level ourselves up. Let's see, we could give ourselves some wizardry powers. Now that we can use a bow, we could give ourselves some Ranger Man's powers. We could give ourselves more armor skill. It's not a terrible thing. More sword and board. You know, not an easy decision, honestly. I think I'm going to give myself some magic ability. Which won't do anything for us in the near term. But that's okay. It's an investment in our future. Alright, 10 Steel Cuirass, that's what we're wearing right now, so oh, there's +1. Okay, let's do that. We're gonna lock that item, this copper longsword +1, because we might need it later. By locking it, it means that when we turn in stuff to the blacksmith that we don't want, we don't lose that particular item. You can do that with the 5 key on the number pad or the period key on an American keyboard. I don't know what it would be on keyboards in other regions, I'm afraid. But I believe that most of the key bindings in this game can be changed, as far as I know. Alright, well, we're going to cut the video here, and until the next time, hope you're doing well, continue to do well, and see you in the next one.